All right, hello and welcome to this quick video. I'm going to show you how you can get local leads to your home service business. So this would be window cleaning, gutter cleaning, pressure washing, anything that you can pretty much think of that is locally based within your home services. So just a few quick criteria here. I'm assuming that you already have a business manager account, and I'm also assuming that you have a professional Facebook page. So not just your own page, but one for your actual business. So for instance, John's Home Services, right? So let's get straight into it. So once you open up your ads manager, you want to click create. Then you want to select leads because we want leads. We want people that we can contact and who want to be spoken with. You click continue. I like to do the manual setup because it gives us more control over what it is that we're doing. Then you can name this if you want. I typically go like the company name, so it would be Keelan for me, and then we would do the area that you're in or the service that you're providing. So the way you want to make the structure here generally is you want to keep it as lean as possible, so you don't scatter everything around. Okay, we want to keep everything as centralized as possible. So if we go to campaign budget optimization here, we set the budget. Let's say we want to spend $50 a day, and the way that works is it will spend this budget across the ad sets that we put in. So if we only have one ad set, well, then the budget is going to be spent on that ad set, right? So the way we want to do this is we want to make it local. So let's say that you're in Texas, right? Then maybe this one would be Dallas, okay? The more localized you can do it, so it depends on your business size, right? But what we found is that the more localized and specific you can make your offering and your targeting, the higher conversion rate you're going to have on those leads. So one of the problems that I actually want to touch on here, we have a bunch of material here, is the lead time that you have to the lead, and also how specific you're making your offer, right? So if you just do home services, any kind of home services, well, that's not really specific to someone who is watching your ad, right? So your entry barrier, your entry offer might be window cleaning, right? And then you upsell pressure washing, gutter cleaning, and everything else, but you want to make that front-end offer as specific as possible. Now, I know that there are many different opinions on this. I see other people with success just promoting everything at once. You can absolutely try that, but based on our data, it's better to pick something that you go for and then use that as a front-end offer and upsell on the back end, because it will make your leads cheaper and they will have an easier time understanding what it is that you're selling, which also makes the conversion process easier. So we have instant forms. We don't want messenger and instant forms and all of this stuff. We want specifically instant forms. The same thing with calls. We don't want that because you have less tracking here and it's not always you're going to be able to pick up and all of this stuff. So we want that data basically. Okay. So let's say this is Dallas, just the example. We would go in, we would select the Facebook page. Let's say here, I'm going to use a client page as example. We want to maximize the number of leads. When is this going to run? This is just basically the schedule. We just want to leave it so you can run it as soon as you set this up. Then we want to do the location. So in this case, again, Dallas. So targeting here, obviously the radius that you're going to be able to cover depends on where your customers already are and how your route is looking. I would suggest that you try to optimize your route as much as possible, because otherwise it's something that's going to limit you in the long run. So when it comes to targeting, we know that we're servicing, actually, let me go back to this. So we know that we are servicing homeowners, and we also know that the average homeowner, at least in the US, is 36 years old. So it's very unlikely that if we target someone who is 21, that they're going to have a home, right? So with that, given that we pay per impression, we pay every time this ad is shown, not every time someone signs up, we just pay every time it's shown. So we want to make the people that we show this to as relevant as possible, right? So with this, with the knowledge that we have that this is going to be from 36 years old and up, we probably want to do 36, or we could do 31 or 30 or something like that, right? But don't take it all the way down to 20, because then you're going to get a lot of people who are not relevant for your business, okay? Also, I like to turn off this use as suggestion, because I would like to have ideally as much control, at least for the setup process, as possible, so we know who we're targeting, okay? Placements. Again, this is something that there is a lot of debate on. Should you use automatic placements? Should you use manual placements? Ultimately, we find the cheapest results by using automatic placements, because that gives basically the full aspect to the algorithm to go in and find out who you should be targeting. Okay. Then we want to go down into the ad level. Now, the way we're going to do this, first of all, we want to click single image or video. We want to have multi-advertiser ads on. So what this means is just that if an ad is being shown that is relevant to your potential customer, then yours can be shown next to it. So it gives you a cheaper placement, if you will. There are a few things we have here. We have media, which is the image or video that is going to be shown. We have the primary text, which is the ad copy, what people are going to be reading. And then we have the headline, which typically translates into the offer that you're having. So very quickly, what is it that you're offering? And then we have the call to action, which is what do we want them to do? So do we want them to learn more? Do we want them to get quote? Typically, in this case, it would be get quote, right? And then we have the form, which I'm going to go into in a moment. So let's just run through this document here, because that will make it easier to understand. So the structure that we have, the campaign, it's a CBO, campaign budget optimization. What that means is just that we tell the platform that, you know, hey, you have the authority to choose why you spend the money within this information that I give you. The way we're going to split up the ads, or the amount of different ads we're going to create, that depends on the amount of creatives and offers that we have. So for this specific example, I've narrowed it a bit into window cleaning, because I know a lot of you guys use that as the front end offer to get the foot in the door, and then you upsell everything else. So this could be anything, but we're just going to go with the example. So whenever we do the targeting, again, it's location specific. We don't want to add any interests. You can experiment with it. We've done a lot of experimentation on this. Every single time it is the broad one that wins. So we want the location, we want to narrow down the location, but we don't want to give it any interests. Like for instance, you might say, I want people who are interested in cleaning. Okay, well, does that mean that everyone who has not specifically went in and pressed like on a cleaning page doesn't like the house cleaned, right? Because the more you narrow the audience, so we want it to be localized, but also the smaller the audience is, the fewer biddings, the fewer chances you're going to have of getting cheap leads. So keep this broad, adjust the age so it's appropriate for people who are likely to have or own a home. Then when it comes to the ad copies, we want to keep it simple and clear. So who is it for? So this would be location, right? What do you offer? That could be window cleaning, right? And what do they need to do? Click below. Okay, so very, very, very simple. Now the content types, the different content types that we have here, if it's low barrier, then you probably will have high competition. So what a lot of people do, I've made you an example here. For instance, this is just something that I quickly created on Canva, right? Now, if I have access to Canva, you have access to Canva, everyone else has access to Canva, your competitors has access to Canva. So if you go in and make something rather basic, well, then chances are that your customers is going to put that in the category with everyone else. So what I recommend that you do is actually that you go ahead and you make a video of yourself. And I know this is like, many people don't like doing this. I'm only suggesting it because we have data that it works, right? So it's up to you. You can do the same thing as everyone else, have high competition, or you can put in a bit more effort and have lower competition. It all depends on what type of business you want to run. But if you're using images, then you want to have a 1x1, which is a square like this. And if you're using videos, you want to have it in this story format, which is 9x16. Okay. So here, for instance, is a story format. Here is a 1x1. Okay. This is from a video that we did as an example. So when creating the ad, let's see here. First of all, let's actually look at budgets. So the way you're determining what budget you want to spend, ideally you want to set something that you're comfortable spending over a week's time without freaking out over losing money. Okay, because the thing is, if this is the first time you're doing this, or the second time, or the third time you're doing this, then very likely you won't really have everything figured out yet. You won't really know how to frame your offer correctly. You won't really know what to say in your area, because what you do door to door, for instance, is very different from what you do in an ad. So you want to set a budget that you're comfortable spending, evaluating the results, optimizing it, and trying again. Okay, so this budget depends on you. It depends on the marketing spend that you have. Let's see here, that is set up. So now let's do the ad creation. So just to clarify, this is the ad. Okay, so Instagram pages, if you have one connected, you can apply that. All that will do is when the ad gets shown, people can enter your Instagram page, but it doesn't really make a difference in terms of what you pay per lead, for instance. So ad media, let's see here, we want to add these ones here. So let me just do that quickly. All right, so as you're adding your image, you can see here that it gives you some cropping options. Now, this typically messes up, so you actually want to keep it original, just so you make sure that people can see what it says in the ad. And then we see all optimizations. If we are really going to, geek out on this, we would actually turn off music. That typically leads to an increase in cost per lead, regardless of what Meta says here. But you can keep it on. It's up to you. Primary text. This is why you're going to describe your offer. So I've made some examples here. I'm also going to show you a trick as to how you can find inspiration for yourself. So imagine it's the first time you're doing this. You want to really find out, hey, what are my competitors doing? You can go into this link here, facebook.com/ads-library. Okay. This will allow you to go in and see what are other people doing and estimate what is working, what is not working. So if we select United States, all ads, and then we say window cleaning, for instance, then you'll see here we have 50,000 results, right? So you could do, for instance, I pulled this one as an example, right? This could be an example. Let's see here, 15% off. This one we took also. So this is a way that you can go in and see what are other people doing and try to estimate what works. Now, of course, I recommend you actually write your own thing. So this is just to give you an example, but it's a good way to get in inspiration for what it is you might want to do. Another thing to take note of is if this has been running for a long time, which this one hasn't, like it's the 14th of May now, and this one started on the 9th of May, right? But if it had been running for a long time, well, it's very likely, and this is a guesstimate, right? It's very likely that it's at least producing results, because otherwise they wouldn't keep spending money on it. So that's something you can use as well to judge, okay, which one might be better if you're completely new to this, okay? I put in some examples here. You can put in your own business name, your own location, all of this good stuff so that it actually fits to you. This document I will share with you. You can click the link in the description. We give it to everyone that we have a call with. Feel free to access it and use it for yourself. But again, this is just to give you some examples. So with the ad copy, let's say we took this one here, right? We copy that, we put it in, boom. Now you will see here that, first of all, Meta is going to make some suggestions. These are typically not very good. These are typically not something that I would recommend you to use. But what we can do is we can add multiple. So let's say we have one creative, in this case, an image, right? We want to test multiple angles. So this one is, say, 15% on window cleaning. And then we could add another one, which would be super simple, right? Window cleaning estimate. We compare with that, add text option, click here, paste. Let's just do one here, super easy, okay? And we can continue adding these up to 5. So what the platform will do, what Meta will do here, is it will go in and it will try different variations. And then once you've been running this for 3-5 days, you'll be able to go in and see, depending on what you spent, you'll be able to go in and see which combination is likely to give you the best results. And then you can make another ad with that perfect combination and continue improving on it from there. So that's the systematic way of going about generating leads. Then we also have the headline. So let me see here. I got a couple of headlines. So that could be, again, this is just for window cleaning as an example. Get your windows cleaned today. Professional window cleaning in location. Again, this thing with location, it's quite important. Like, you will see a very big difference in a general ad just calling out all of the US to get a window clean versus your local window cleaner in Dallas, for instance, right? You'll see a very big difference in the results on that. So I recommend that you keep it local, which also most of the people who are going to watch this are very likely operating in either one or a couple of states. So keep it local if you can. If you need to make more than one ad to do that, then absolutely go ahead. Do that. It's more important to keep it local. It's the same thing if you're doing a video of yourself, you're saying, hey, Dallas, right? Hey, location, would you like a quote on your window cleaning? Fill out the form below and we'll contact you, right? So you keep it local because then you're speaking directly to them and not just to everyone, okay? So again, I have this document here. You are very much welcome to access it. It's just filled with some examples, but it will make it easy for you to, just go in and start it out for yourself. Effective window cleaning, in location, your local window cleaning, your local window cleaner. Okay, and then we have get quote. So again, the idea with this is we spend some money here, we spend some here, we spend some here, here, and here. And then based on the results, we'll be able to see, okay, this one and that one work best. Then we create another ad where it's only these two, right? Or we add in new variations depending on how much testing you want to do. You will do the same thing with the creatives. I recommend that you have one ad per creative that you have. That's typically how it works the best. But again, there are a lot of opinions on this. That's how I would recommend that you do it. Then we get to the lead form. And this is interesting. Create form. Now, before you do anything, watch this. We have settings. If you have this restricted, then other people who see it will not be able to share it. Okay? So if it's restricted, your ad cannot be shared. Okay? So when your family member sees it and they want to help you out, they cannot share it. Okay, so you want to press this to open unless you want it unshareable, of course. Then here we make an intro. We write, get your window. So this could either be the offer that you're running or it could be general. Okay, you can either make a new form every time you have a new offer or you can keep it general. Typically, this doesn't make the biggest of a difference, not from we've found anyway. So get a quote on your window cleaning today, as an example, right? Fill out the form below and we will come. Okay, fill out the form below and we'll come back to you with a quote within 24 hours. Again, what you say here is just what is this about? Okay, you can also do a list, make benefits of your offer. Generally, paragraph works just fine. So now with questions, there are a few things we want to do here. So whenever we make the lead form, we have what is your address. The reason why you want to know that is because then you can look them up. For instance, on Google Maps, you can go in and you can actually try to find out how many windows do they have, how much work is there, and then you can call them with an estimate so that they don't have to tell you how many windows they have and all this. We all know that they not all of them necessarily know how much work will go into it. So therefore, you now have the information, and this also allows you to plan it in your route so you can already come with some times to them. Another one that you could put in is when would you need the cleaning done by, right? What is the timeline for this? If you see that your lead quality is quote unquote low, meaning that you would be closing less than 33%, Then you can add in more qualifying questions like this one here. When would you need the cleaning done by? Because it requires them to think and give you a time frame. Okay, but it will also increase the cost per lead that you're getting. Okay, so I don't recommend that you start doing this. I recommend that you start with the address, especially if you're doing it locally. If you're targeting a wide area, you want to do this right away. But if you target locally, then you want to just ask for the address to start with and see how it goes. The next questions are automatic questions. It's their full name, it's the email, and it's the phone number. Facebook already has this information, so it's quick for them to fill in. So the first question is, what is your address? Boom, that's it. Next one, let people know how you're going to use the info. So we use this information to contact you with a quote on your window cleaning, right? That's it. So we then have full name. We want to put that first because that's easiest for them to fill. Again, most of this will be automatic, but sometimes it's not, depending on the person. And then phone number last, because that's what people are most unlikely to give out. Okay, so this is how we do it. Email, you don't actually need this, but I recommend that you have it, because then when you have email campaigns or other systems that you run this with, you already have the information and you don't need to ask for it twice. Okay, privacy. Now, this should be a link to your privacy policy. We'll just do Facebook's to keep it as simple just for this video as possible. So you would put in a privacy policy here. You don't need any link text. And then upon completion, you want to let them know, what are we going to do? So first of all, do you want them to call you? Well, then you say, call us now, right? Or get estimate now, right? This is one way of doing it, because then once they go through the form, they also get a chance to call you. So now you have now you're able to get a hold of them twice, right? Then you type in your number and that's it. With the information here, I recommend that you type, thank you for your interest. We'll get to you in 24 hours or as quickly as possible. So this is actually another thing. The longer time it takes for you to get back to the lead, the colder it becomes. Like if you call someone within 5 minutes of them signing up, they are 100% going to remember who you are, what you offer, and why they signed up, which means that they become much, much easier to give a quote that they will accept. Okay? Whereas if you call them 2 days later, they're not going to remember you. They don't know what they signed up for, and they are wondering, why are you calling me? We don't like these scam calls. Okay? So call them fast. Okay? That's the main thing here. That's very, very important. I see so many people, they set this up and then they go like, oh, it's not working. Well, what is your time to lead? We usually call them within the week. Okay. Can you remember what you saw? Can you remember what you saw on your phone at night 2 days ago? Probably not. Maybe you can remember one of the 10,000 things you scrolled through, right? But not necessarily this one. Okay. So then we type the phone number. Example. Create form. Boom. Then the form is created. If you have CRM events set up, put that up. Same thing if you have a website with a tracking script on it, put that up. We also do online events. That's just something that we use. And then you are actually ready to launch. So if we wanted to make more variations of this, we would duplicate it, quick duplicate. Then we would have ad number 2. And again, you can do something that is called dynamic ads, where you can actually put in multiple creatives in the same ad. We find that it typically doesn't bring you a better result than actually splitting them up here. But again, there is a lot of opinions on this, so try it out for yourself. This is how I recommend you do it. Then we add another media. So let's say, again, these are just examples here. Boom, boom, boom. This could be the other one, all optimizations, click. done. And then now we have two different versions. Okay, so what people are going to be able to see when we publish this is preview. This is how they're going to look. Okay, and then with variations of the text. So depending on how much different text you put in, they'll be able to see variations. Okay, so this is how it will end up looking when you publish it. Now, next step is to show you how you actually access these leads. I'm gonna go through that in another video, but I hope this was insightful for you. Until next time, bye.